Okay, so good evening. My name is Roderick Hamilton. Today is June the 26th. It's about 6:25 p.m. and this is my video 2 diary submission. First question is regarding critical theory. Critical theory is a theory where the interest of the majority or dominant group are seen as more important than the interest of the minority or the subordinates. And then what is power? Power is the amount of influence one party has over an individual, that one party has over an individual or has over another party. It's kind of the controlling party. Hegemony is also the influence of one party or an individual over another group or party. And then concerted control is it's through the adherence to a work team's socially constructed norms. So it's kind of like somebody following a common practice. The Emma Watson video, she's come to an understanding that inequality for women should stop. She gave some very valid points as to why feminism should exist. She also mentioned how men need to be a part of the conversation, and then through, I think it was one of the conversations or speeches that was going on, the audience, there was only 31% of the audience that were men. She also talked about gender inequality and how it should be eliminated throughout the world. So, the workplace culture of fear. Fear in the workplace can be a result of concerted control. Basically, people following the norms. And a good example is in the case of the NFL, they were hazing, basically. The players were hazing, and that was kind of considered just a normal thing in the NFL locker room. However, it did get out of control. So, Netflix changes corporate culture. The leaders, they place a lot of importance on employees making good judgment. They talked about that's one of the qualities that they look for in potential employees. Their values are very important to them. And one of the things they talked about was instead of creating more rules as they hired people, they said they would hire smarter people and then they would create less rules. And they used strategic ambiguity. And they're not giving a complete blueprint because they want thinkers in their organization. They want individuals to kind of think outside of the box. In the lessons learned case, what was the ultimate lesson? In my opinion, there was no valid conflict. So the serious issues were never brought to the table for discussion so they could be addressed. I think it was mentioned before, and it was what did we talk about? Misunderstandings. You have to have some misunderstandings in order to be able to work things out. And I don't think they had enough conflict or misunderstandings so they could actually complete their discussions to resolve the issues. Have you ever been in a situation where you did not represent yourself accurately when applying and interviewing for a job? Surprisingly, yes. There was a situation probably 20 plus years ago. I didn't necessarily represent myself accurately. Specifically, it was a salary at an old employer. So, when you fill out an application and they ask, your salary. Well, I had a friend that already told me the salary range. And so what I did was I combined my previous base salary and my bonus together. And then I entered that as my base wage. Have you ever been hired by an organization and they misrepresented my role in the company? Yeah, I'll say yeah, I did. There was a case when I worked for Enterprise Rent-A-Car probably 20 plus years ago. They tell you, you're going to rent cars, this, that, and the other, but they don't tell you that you're going to be out in the sun drying off cars and washing cars with the shirt and tie on. So I think they misrepresented that company. Discuss reasons why applicants may embellish their application materials. Well, I can speak specifically for my case, which I had some inside information, and so I knew what the salary range was, and so I combined my bonus, and they ended up hiring me, and they paid me within that range, so it worked out for me. What perception would a potential employer have of me after viewing results from Googling my name? Well, I have a common name, which is Roderick Hamilton, and when I Googled it, because I've never actually Googled my own name, however, when I did the search, found several profiles and social media accounts, but none of them were mine. There was a LinkedIn profile that came up, but it wasn't mine either. Then what are my thoughts about the recruitment practices at Bell South? We didn't have any information on this question, so I'll skip that one. The Chapter 8, reviewing the PowerPoint slides. The case study about the students and the organizational assimilation. I'm sorry. How students should apply both organizational assimilation process and structural theory to his case. Being a new person, Cassie, I think she just was trying to fit in with the others within the organization, and also she didn't get all the information that she needed at the beginning. So I think the company misrepresented her position. And then the question that wasn't addressed is, to me, why was she doing that job? She indicated that she had a college degree. She may have actually said she had 3 degrees. So it appears that she was qualified to do more. So why was she working on a cruise ship? Discuss reasons why a superior might deliberately engage in strategic ambiguity, and reasons why a subordinate might deliberately engage in strategic ambiguity. A superior may use that strategic ambiguity to promote positive outcome of an issue. For instance, like with a performance review, you may sometimes be vague because it could have just been a one-time issue, so you don't really want to harp on it. So you may just kind of be vague with it, and you don't want to give them all the information. You want to touch it, but you don't really want to go into detail about it. Now, subordinate may use it to promote identification and kind of promote a sense of shared vision. If an employee is feeling left out of the loop, maybe they didn't receive the necessary guidance on an issue, then in order to kind of address that issue, they may use it. An instance where a friend may have practiced upward distortion. I've actually engaged with upward distortion with my senior manager on several occasions. It usually involves an issue with our group being over our budget costs for a particular quarter. Now, he's ultimately responsible for the budget, but I manage the cost. And so there are times when I have to address the budget with him and kind of get him to understand that, yeah, it's bad now, but it's not necessarily going to be bad for the entire quarter. What role does trust play in superior-subordinate relationship? Trust is a relational construction. I mean, both parties have to contribute to the development and the maintenance and growth of trust. I mean, it helps alleviate some of the vulnerability between the superior and the subordinate. Discuss the role of immediacy in the supervisor-subordinate relationship and why acknowledging it is important. Supervisors use of immediacy can enhance perceptions of the supervisor by the subordinate, and kind of can increase the subordinate satisfaction with the supervisor, or it can increase or improve the communication with the supervisor. And then supervisors' general use of immediacy can reduce employee burnout, and it can help increase trust and help foster that relationship. So those are my answers, and thank you for your time.